Hello, I'm Mr. Luke and this is Mr. Luke Unplugged, and I'm here today to hopefully give you an advantage of passing your Praxis exams on the very first try, just like me. This is for the Virginia Elementary Education Praxis exams, the 5000 series, but don't worry because you can still use the strategies that I'm going to go over for whatever state it is that you're taking your Praxis exam in, or if you're doing it at the middle school or high school level. I'm going to go over how I scheduled my Praxis exams, what resources that I used, and how I studied. So let's get into the first one, which is scheduling. The 5000 series, you can schedule two ways. The first way is you can take the 4 subtests, which are your reading, language arts, math, science, and social studies, all in one. That's going to be the 5001 Praxis exam. You take it all in one sitting, 4.5 hours, pass, and then you are done. It's also $70 cheaper, but I wouldn't base taking it on price. I would base taking it all in one on your mindset. If you're like me and you're a deer in headlights, once it comes test time, you get test anxiety or you're always second guessing yourself, I would go with the second option, which is coming up next. First option is for those people who don't mind moving from one subject to another in the same sitting, and you can sit for 4.5 hours and not feel fazed by it. The second option is to book each subtest separately. That's what I did. Now there is a 5205 subtest, which I'll get into later. That is its own standalone test. You have to book that one separately, whether you want to take the other 4 subtests as one, or if you want to take them separately. So let's get into when to schedule. I'd schedule as soon as your college advisor tells you you're ready to go. And the reasons for this is, the first one is procrastination is a real thing. You're gonna wait until you feel absolutely ready. And if you feel until you're absolutely ready, that time's never gonna come. And the time period of when you have to take your Praxis exam to when you wanna get licensed, it's gonna sneak up on you really quickly. The second reason is that if you don't pass one of the subtests, there's a 28-day waiting period. And during that waiting period, you don't want to be so far into the end of your studies to when you want to get licensed that you're having to wait another 28 days. So scheduling early allows you to retake tests without panicking that you need to get it done within a certain time frame. The third reason is that you're going to get first dibs on the testing site, the dates and the times that all match your preferences. If you wait to the very last minute, you're going to have to settle probably for a site that's further away, or you're not going to get the dates and times that you want. So make sure that you're booking it early so that you can get times that fit your schedule. Because if you don't, you're just going to be stuck with whatever's left, and that's not going to be good, especially if you have testing anxiety and it's not on your schedule and you don't really have control anymore over when you can take it or where you can take it. Now, there are a couple ways that I do recommend you booking your subtests. One of the first ways is to book each subtest 1 month after the other. Don't do 2 subtests in a month or 3 subtests in a month, or try and get them all knocked out in a month separately. Book each one per month. So that's going to be 5 months. You'll have the 4 subtests plus the 5205 standing alone by itself. That's going to allow you to strategically just focus your energy on one subject. You can also set up a study schedule if you book it month by month. And then I recommend booking the hardest one first, because as I was saying, like, eat the frog leg first, and then everything else can be a little bit easier. For me, it was math, and I booked my math Praxis first. It was going to be the hardest one. I wasn't expecting to pass it. I used my study strategies, used the resources that I'm going to go over with you in a bit, and I passed. I passed a lot better than what I thought, and then my confidence just went through the roof. And it was a great feeling to get that one out of the way. So instead of booking the easy ones first and then having the math just hanging over my head, I got it out of the way, and then the rest of them were easier for me. One of the things that I would have done a little bit different is I left the 5205, which is the standalone test, all by itself to the very end. And that was my worst performing one. I passed by 3 points. All the others, I passed an average of 30 points over what was required. If I was to do it again, I recommend doing the 5002 and then put the 5205 right behind it, because both tests are very similar. It's just that the 5205 has 3 constructed responses that you have to do written responses for. And we can talk about those in later videos. But for now, I would really focus on scheduling month by month, doing the hardest ones first, and then coupling the 5002 for the 1 month, and then the following month do the 5205. The last way that I recommend booking your Praxis exams is in conjunction with your college studies. So for example, if you are studying science in college, I'd go ahead and book your science Praxis exam for around that time so that the vocabulary, the content is fresh in your mind, and it'll give you a better chance of getting the score that you need to pass because everything is already fresh with you and you're already in college studying it or just got done with the subject and everything there is fresh for you. One thing that I strongly suggest is to not do the test at home. There's an option that you can do a home test. That means you can do it at home or you can do it somewhere with an internet connection. I strongly suggest doing it at a testing site because if something goes wrong, you've got help readily available at a testing site. And if you lose connection doing it anywhere but a testing site, you're gonna lose everything that you've done. So if you're halfway through a test or you've got 5 minutes to go, you lose connection, you're gonna have to repay plus retake the test. And especially if you're taking the 5001, that's gonna be detrimental. I just couldn't imagine how bad that would be if you were 3 subtests in and only had 1 subtest to go and you lost connection and then you lose everything. Now, how did I study? Because I booked on a monthly basis, I was able to study just 1 subject at a time and then set myself up a study schedule, which was the same for each subject. I would choose 2 nights a week and I would study for an hour and a half. Those were the first 3 weeks. Then on the last week, I'd study for the 3 days and then leave the last 2 days leading up to the test empty because at that point, it's just information overload. I just wanted to make sure that I had time for my brain to rest, take in all of the information that I'd been studying, and just be ready and raring to go once I go into the testing site. I didn't want to amp my anxiety up by like studying really hard because you can cram too much information in. Your brain's just going to be flooded with so much information, you're going to underperform. I only really focused on what I didn't know enough of. So the stuff that I knew, I was like, okay, cool, I've got that. But the stuff that I didn't know enough of was where I felt I could pick up extra points to get me over the line to pass the subtest. The stuff that I wasn't entirely sure on, I just left alone. And if I had some extra time to study, that's when I would focus on that. But for example, like the genealogy of like a brown mouse and a white mouse in science, I kind of knew how it worked, but I needed to brush up on it. Those are the types of things that I focused on because you don't know what it is that you're going to get tested on. So you can study for everything and that part that you study just never shows up. So I'd only focus on things that you don't know that much about that you feel could get you over the line if you needed those extra points. So what did I use to study? My main resource was this book right here to my left. It's the NAVA ED Praxis 2 book. I really love this book because it was the only resource that I used apart from Kathleen Jasper, who also does a book that is similar and it looks exactly the same. She has some great videos as well on YouTube. And I also used the PDF study companion that comes with the Praxis exam that you sign up for. So I want to go over the book first, and then I'll go into the Praxis exam PDF that many people sleep on. This book here, it has practice tests in it. So when you get this book, I'll put the link to both in the description below. I don't get paid for it. I just really want to help out, share some resources. The book has the practice tests. Take the first practice test. That's going to give you a baseline of where you are. Now, don't try and convert it into the raw score of the Praxis exam because the Praxis exam's weighted for the difficulty of the question. I would just do it by a percentage basis. So if you get around 80% or higher, you're doing really well. If you get 60% or below, you're going to have some work to do. But each question is based inside of a category. So you can score by category, and then whatever category you're weakest in, you can turn to the category pages in the book, and it will tell you what vocabulary words to look out for, how questions are worded, what you're going to be, what some questions you might be asked. And that was the best way that I was able to study. Then they have a second practice test. Go ahead and take that and then just repeat the process because you might find that there's a category that you're weak on there, and it's not necessarily based on knowledge. It's more based on how the questions are worded and what to look for in the question. And sometimes the answers in the question, sometimes the answers you'll be able to eliminate some answers before you even read the question. So make sure that you're using the study guide. Don't just do the practice test and memorize the answers. It's not about memorizing the answer. It's trying to think like a test maker. What is it that they're asking? What is the language they're using? What is their vocabulary? And how are they giving you the answer choices? As I mentioned before, the last resource that I used is the Study Companion PDF. I'm going to put the link to the description to that below as well. It's free. You can get it from the internet yourself. But many people sleep on this. And look at it like going into the mind of a test maker, what it is that they're going to ask you and how you should think. Because if you think like a test taker, that's where the anxiety comes from. But if you can think like a test maker and kind of get the cheat code to the test, which is bad to say because it's not really based on knowledge. It's, can you read a test? Can you read the questions? Can you figure out what it is that it's asking you? Especially in math for me, because I didn't really understand what like some symbols were or what the vocabulary that it was using, like what the question was asking me. So when I started looking at, okay, this is what mean, medium, mode means, I was able to take away some of the answers and eliminate them. If it was a symbol, I could match the symbol to some of the words that were in the question without even having to sit there and work out the answers. And that's how I scheduled, studied, and used the resources available to me to pass my Praxis exams on the very first try. Look for my other videos that will break down the subtests individually and some extra strategies that you can use to familiarize yourself with the tests, and then what it's also like to be inside of the testing room and things that you can do to lower your test anxiety and give you the best possible chance of passing first time. If you've got any comments or experience with the Praxis, whether you passed, failed, whatever state it is, just leave those down below in the comments area and let's build a community and help one another out. I'm Mr. Luke. This is Mr. Luke Unplugged, and you have just unplugged.
Help us grow this channel and join us and subscribe.